And there are a lot of things happening in the country that are both, in many ways, uplifting and hopeful, and a lot of stuff that's incredibly stressful and a giant bum out. And so, first of all, I hope you and your loved ones are happy and healthy and safe. Secondly, if you are like me, right, I mean, it's like, look, if it was hard for you to wake up this morning, I get it, right? And if it's hard for you to show up to work, or show up to the office, or show up to your studio, or show up to a blank page and figure out what you want to write and figure out what you want to say, or even just stare at the Twitter text box and figure out, like, what do I do? How do I help? How do I express myself? I get it, right? It's a difficult time. And I've gone out of my way to try to talk about current events and how I think about them, and how other people can think about them. And I hope you go check out my Twitter feed. I hope you follow me on Instagram or whatever, and you can see where I see these things. I said these things on Facebook. I pretty much try to use whatever platform I have to try to say things everywhere, right? But one of the things I really believe in is, like, in times where everything feels really out of control, one of the best things we can do to give ourselves some autonomy and some sort of empowerment, right, is to focus on what we can do, focus on what we're good at, and kind of reach out and use those superpowers to try to help however is possible. And for better or for worse, I've spent the last year or two kind of building up to working with people on their creativity, on people trying to build things that matter, on productivity, on all sorts of stuff. And I deeply believe in the value of those tools. And so I'm going to talk about that today, because, like I said, you can go get my opinions on current events. Just follow me anywhere on social media and you'll see that. But what I know best, right, and what I can speak to best, right, is helping people get the most out of themselves. So let's talk about that today. Because if you got in the office today and just, like, I literally messaged my team today and I was like, hey, if nobody's feeling productive today, I get it, right? I get it. Here we are living through history. It's okay to feel a little torn apart by it, right? So what do you do about it? Because I still have to come in. I still have to show up. My team depends on me. My family depends on me. My clients depend on me. I have to show up. So how do we show up, right? And whenever I get in these kind of, I get in my feelings, right? Like we all do, whether we want to admit it or not, right? Whenever I get in my feelings, what I find recenters me and helps reset me is remembering what I am working for. And so typically when I need to remind myself, what am I really working for? I do a goals reset. I probably reset my big goals, my quarterly goals, whatever you want to do. I probably reset them 6 or 7 times a year, more than that maybe. And that's because, for one, I change in the process of pursuing the things I care about. I change. And so the things that I care about change, right? Right now, if you are paying attention to the world around you, your perception of the world, the things you want for the world, the things you think are important, they should be changing. They should be changing, right? That's called being alive. That's being a part of the world, of being a part of history, right? There's this kind of like, Stoicism is very popular nowadays, and there's kind of this Stoic ideal that we should like float above it. And like, forget that. Don't float above it. You're born at this moment in time, this moment in history. These are your people, your fellow brothers and sisters, other humans, other citizens, other denizens of the world, right? We are a part of it. You can't float apart from it. We are a part of what happens. So you got to engage in it, right? But anyway, back to what I'm saying, right? I'm always changing because of this engagement with the worlds around me. And so obviously what I want changes, what I value changes. So I do this in a very concrete way, and I'm going to show you this way. I'm not going to keep this kind of highfalutin. I'm going to keep this very concrete. In fact, I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm going to show you my Notion workspace. This is in Notion. You can find Notion at notion.so. And Notion's a great little piece of software. It's basically kind of a mix of Google Docs and a database, sort of like Airtable. And you can do a lot of stuff in it. It's one of those tools that can do like a million different things, right? And I use it for a variety of things. I was using it to keep track of all my tasks. I've since moved. I'm experimenting with a physical board, but it's great. But what I definitely use it for is my kind of goal setting. One, because the structure inherent in a database helps me to organize my thoughts. And Notion specifically, you can kind of see like you can incorporate images in a way that I find really valuable. Like it's one thing to say like, I want to set a revenue goal, right, of X amount of dollars or whatever, and that's fine. But it doesn't get me excited personally, right? Like if I just say like, I want to make, $1 million or whatever, it just doesn't mean anything to me. But if I look at, for example, I look at this picture up here, and this is kind of like the header image up here, right? You can just kind of upload whatever picture you want here. I can look at this and be like, can I imagine, owning a house in a place like this and looking out my kitchen window and seeing this? And I can imagine that because I can literally see it, right? And I find that very motivational. So here's how I think about this, right? I've got basically a database in here. This is my database in here. And, it's a lot of things or whatever, a lot of tasks and so on. But in this space here, you can assign images to everything. And so up here, I have my objectives. These are like my big goals. These are like the big dreams. And they don't have to be really specific. You want them to be emotionally motivating. So what are like my objectives for my life, my big dreams, right? I want to have the best relationship. I want to have zero debt with a total sense of ease, right? I want to be the most attractive I've ever been. I would say like, I want to be a mix between, Ryan Reynolds and Jason Statham, right? I want to pay my bills teaching what I love. And I want AdWords Nerds, my company, right, to be more profitable than ever, okay? And these are images that are only loosely related, really, to these goals. They just kind of feel like I want the goal to feel, right? Like what is being more productive, like more profitable than ever? Well, it means, apparently I'm in Croatia, right? Sitting by the pool, looking out the ocean, right? Or like, what does being the most attractive I've ever been means, right? It means I'm like, I'm kind of ripped and thin and I have a cool sense of style, right? What does having zero debt means? It means I'm on my boat, in the islands or whatever. And I don't even like boats, right? I'm not really going to buy a boat, not a boat person, right? But it feels like that kind of would feel to me, right? And that's what matters, right? So I have these kind of objectives, right? And again, you just set the image, set the objective. You can do this on a board with magazine cutouts. You can print out things from Pinterest, whatever you got to do. You just think of these objectives, these big emotional, kind of motivational ideas. But then we've got to break them down. We've got to break them down into key results. Key results are kind of like the projects that are going to move you towards the objectives, okay? So they're not tasks. They probably are going to contain multiple tasks. So for example, let's open up this one. Recently, my friend Nick, what's up, Nick? If you're watching this, my friend Nick gave me feedback on my marketing plan for AdWords Nerds. And so this is a project. I'm going to revise my weekly marketing plan for AdWords Nerds in line with Nick's feedback. I've given myself a deadline to do this, July 31st. The objective it's tied to, because remember, projects move me towards objectives. The project, Revise the Weekly Marketing Plan, is moving me towards the objective of AdWords Nerds is more profitable than ever, and it's killing it. All right. Now, for each of these, right, let's do another one, right? Okay, so this is improve my wardrobe for summer. I don't know. I kind of been dressing the exact same way for a couple of years. I look a little dumpy. I want to improve my wardrobe for summer. That is a project, right? It's a key result. It is going to move me towards the big emotional objective of being the most attractive I've ever been. All right. And you can do this. You just keep breaking these down. Each of these can have 2 or 3 projects, right? You're going to give yourself a deadline. All right. Now, the thing that is missing for me, because, we can talk about task management. I think daily task management is sort of a different topic. Again, we're talking about, remember, resetting your mind to be focused on what's important to you. For all of these, for example, I have an objective metric. So for example, the metric for most attractive I've ever been is loss to body fat percentage. Right now I'm at 0 because I'm starting at my current body fat or whatever, and I want to lose 4% of my body fat, right? For, let's see, so for paying bills, teaching what I love, right? Metric is revenue. The metric goal is 2,000. Right now I have a revenue of 0, right? So I haven't sold anything. I don't have an offer. I will have an offer. In fact, I think it is almost ready for you to purchase if you're curious about that. And if you want to keep in touch with what I'm doing with that, by all means, betterquestionsemail.com. That's where you get all those emails. But anyway, 1 email a week, I should say. But metric is currently 0. Metric goal is 2,000. Why is the metric part of this important? Because remember, we have the overarching emotional thing, these big emotional goals with the images that feel like they should feel. I've got the key results that are the projects that are supposed to move me towards the objective, right? But without a clear metric of judging whether I am successful or not, I'm not going to be able to make much progress, right? Or I'm going to think like, okay, maybe I'm making progress, but I don't really know, or I might be able to fool myself. Looking a certain way is a really good example of this. I was eating sort of like out of control and gaining weight week over week. And I just kept telling myself, like, it's probably muscle, right? I'm just gaining a lot of muscle. It's weird. I'm not working out, but I'm just packing on all this muscle. It's amazing. And it doesn't look like muscle, but it must be muscle. Mm-hmm. So we are very, very good. The smarter you are, the better you are at fooling yourself. All right. So for me, having the objective metric is just a way of saying, hey, no BS. No BSing yourself, right? You can BS the world. Don't BS yourself. And that is it, people. That's it. You think of the big emotional objectives. You get some images to really like lock you onto those. You think of, okay, what are the projects that are going to move me towards those, the key results, right? And then what are the metrics by which I judge my progress? And every single time I go through the process of thinking about this and sort of imagining what I want, really thinking about it, making sure that it all aligns with who I am today, not who I was in January. Who I was in January is a very different person from who I am now. And if that's not the case for you, I don't know what to tell you, right? But making sure all that stuff aligns with who I am now. When I do that, and I just did this morning, when I do that, I end up being more motivated than ever to get out and do the things that I'm really meant to be doing and to hopefully make the world a better place. And sometimes, look, the world needs us to make it a better place. And whatever your way is of doing that, go do it in the best way possible. I love you. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope you are staying safe mentally, physically, and everything. But I hope you are getting out there and making the world a better place because we need you. betterquestionsemail.com, 1 email a week if you want to stay in touch with what I'm doing. And I will talk to you soon.